Hi, I'm Evelyn Linwood. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am a published indie author of Noble Bright Fantasy. My debut novel, Showing Silver, came out last May. Yeah. So that was just not even a year ago, like 6 months June, July, August, September, October. 6 months-ish. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the kind of mindset I think that is most healthy for people starting out in an indie publishing career. And what I mean by indie publishing is independently published authors. So this can be self-published or it can be working through small publishers. Either way, you tend to have a lot more A, control over your work, which is great, but B, responsibility for quality control and even just organizing everything so that it comes together to be an actual book instead of just like a document on the computer. You may be responsible for marketing, editing, cover design, etc. In my case, I cannot take credit for that cover. That was Yasby Designs. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But I was very happy with my cover. Anyway, today, indie authors, well, all authors, people who are kind of artsier in general, the creative types, I would say as a whole, we tend to be big dreamers. There is that thought in the back of my mind, certainly, and I'm sure many authors feel the same, of what if I'm the next insert favorite author here? What if I'm the next person who strikes it big, has all these people talking about my book? Oh, there's a TV show now. Oh, there's a dedicated fan fiction page. That kind of thing. I think it's normal to have those thoughts, but it's not something you should expect to be the thing when you're starting out your indie career, especially. Well, in general, I would say if you're taking the indie path, you should not expect big commercial success in that way. I'm not sure anyone really should anymore. I mean, if it's a pure numbers game, nobody ever should have. But if you look at the way things are broken down now, it's, we're not all watching the same 5 channels on cable anymore. People tend to be a lot more niched down. I don't think that the big sweeping hit that sweeps across and everyone has read the same book, it may never be a thing again, to be perfectly honest. But either way, that's not what you should expect when you're going into indie publishing. You are going to build probably a very loyal group of readers if your books are good, which I'm sure all think our books are good, or why were we doing this? But ideally, it should be fostering that group, however large that is. And there are certain things that come with becoming an indie author that you have to be aware of before going into it, or you are going to be disappointed at your choice. Now, I'm very happy to be an indie author. And I do think of it as my career, but it's currently not what I make money from. Do I make a little bit from it? Yes. I haven't even earned the money back that I put into this book. And I don't expect to for a good while yet. So when you're starting out, dream big, but be practical. That's, I guess, my main point. So when you start out, it costs money to publish a book, and you can't expect, I can pour all of my money into this book. I would say ideally, if you can, budget so that you can afford to publish 4 or 5 books. before making money back. That's the advice that I've always been given. I have heard one person tell me like 16 to 20, but in general, I think 4 to 5. But don't put money into a book that you can't afford to lose, because there's no guarantee that you'll ever earn back what you put into a book. You can publish for less money. Usually the cost is either time or you have to learn something. So like maybe you learn to do cover design or you learn to better self-edit. Oftentimes you can trade with other writers because it is best to have other eyes on your book than your own before you publish it. So if you're trying to cut costs, maybe you could exchange, maybe you could take some courses, learn to copy edit. Maybe you could copy edit someone else's book in exchange for them copy editing yours, or something like that. It's going to be different for everyone, but there are ways to publish cheaper. But usually the cost is time. So you can't expect to earn back until 4th or 5th book at the earliest. And even then, I wouldn't put money you can't afford to lose. That is the most important thing, I think. You can't expect, oh, I have a financial crisis, I need to make money fast, so I'm going to publish a book. Nope. That's not going to work out well for you. Yeah. So I'm planning publishing to be my career. This is what I expect to be my main source of income for myself. Yes, I'm married and my husband has a job, so I'm not that worried. But I want to contribute to the household finances like most people these days do. But that is the thing that I want to be my main thing, is writing. Do I have side gigs? Yes. I have a part-time job. And then I also have I started a small publisher when I published my book. And through that small publisher, I offer editorial services and book formatting. And yes, I took courses, so I am qualified to do copy edits. I'm not just randomly doing them. I do manuscript critiques, copy edits, that kind of thing. I do not do developmental edits. I don't feel that I'm qualified to do that, so I don't offer it. I don't do proofreads because, again, I don't think that's something that I'm actually qualified for. It sounds like I would be if I'm a copy editor, but no. I really don't think that that's the same ballpark. Anyway, I think that most indie authors should expect to have side gigs for a good long while. Now, if you're someone who can snap, write 4 books in a year and get out there, that's great. That's wonderful. I'm maybe going to write 1 a year. At least that seems to be the pace I'm at right now. I would like to get it up to where I can do 2 a year. I don't know that I ever will. There is something to be said for your natural writing pace. And yes, I write fantasy, so that those tend to be a little bit longer and there's more world building and research and stuff to go into it. But I think that patience is kind of one of the main things an indie author needs, because this is not a one and done kind of deal. This is something you have to be prepared that it's going to take a while to build up. And you have to have a plan for your finances in the meantime, basically, is what I'm saying. Because you can't expect that this is going to be, oh, tomorrow I can quit my day job. No. It'll probably take a few years. I'm planning it to take a decade. Yeah. The other thing I would say, there's probably 3 things. It's you have to be patient, and with that, prepared to do side hustles for financials. You have to be prepared to be a lifelong learner, because these things in indie writing, like the indie publishing scene changes so fast. You have to like be ready to learn how to use a new vendor, when the vendor terms and services change. You have to learn to deal with that. You have to learn to deal with evolving laws, like that kind of thing. Right now, you have to learn to like spot AI if you don't want AI in your cover, which I certainly don't. I'm one of those people that is very anti-generative AI. I have a real problem with it. So for me, I'm trying to learn to spot it so that I don't have to deal with that being anywhere near any of my stuff. And there's all that kind of stuff. Plus, as artists, which I'm going to say that even though as writers, artists, creative people, you want to work on your craft. So I would say like reading books on craft, maybe taking a class, attending conferences, just reading other people's books even, but like reading critically reading other books is an ongoing thing that we should expect to be doing for a lifetime. And then the third thing I would say that indie authors need, absolutely, you need to be able to push yourself to do the work when it doesn't feel good. Now, this is the one that I find the hardest. So like say you're just not feeling particularly inspired that day, but you have free time. You can use it for writing. Do you? Will you? Can you push yourself to do that? I do believe that even if you struggle with it, you can learn to do it. I've certainly made progress in it, although I'm certainly not perfect. But you have to be prepared that that is going to be part of your life, is doing it when it's hard. Doing it when you're not in the mood. If this is a job, like it's no different than if you wake up at 7:30 a.m. You have to be at work at 8 and you got to run out the door, go to work. Maybe you don't feel like answering those emails, but it's part of your job, so you have to do it. Or whatever type of job you have. Maybe it's more physical, but there are things that you don't want to do that you have to do. And that's all part of being an indie author. It's not the only part. I personally, I love being able to call myself an author. I love writing. I don't love writing every day, but I love writing. I love building a story, building a novel. I love editing, drafting, all of that jazz. And I think that this is 1,000% the career for me. I like that it's flexible. I actually like that it's self-driven, even if I struggle with that sometimes. I like that you can change it as needed. Like if something's not working, you can just pivot and do something else. And I actually like the room for side gigs. So say you're not earning quite enough, you can, get a part-time job and still have room for writing. Now, once you get up to the point where you may want to be a full-time writer, it may not benefit you to have side gigs. It may actually harm you. But when you're first starting out and you don't have kind of the income from a backlist, it's just kind of part of it. So that, yeah. I know this doesn't sound like the brightest pep talk, but pep talk is what I would call it, because I'm not saying to give up the big dreams. I'm saying to dream big, but keep your feet on the ground while you're doing it so that you can actually get to your dreams. Yeah. I don't want you to launch an indie career and then, sell 50 copies. What have I sold? 51 copies of my book in the last 6 months, which sounds like not that many, but the average for, the only average I could find for a debut indie author was 2 copies. So, like, your first book, you can't expect it to sell a ton. And that's normal. That's expected. You don't expect to start gaining traction until you have a back catalog. And I want you to know what you're getting into so that when you're there, you can keep going. You can know, okay, this is normal. Let me keep working on it. Because it takes a while. But it is 100% possible. There are lots of indie authors who write full-time and earn a decent living. Some of them even earn a great living just writing books. That is a thing that you can do. You have to work hard, you have to be patient, and you have to drive yourself there. And I hope we both get there. Thank you for watching.